goodness.
No one's gonna watch the Big Brother finale now, since McCrae got killed. No one's gonna watch the Big Brother finale.
All right. That was a really bad intro. I still don't know if we're live yet. Looks like we are, so that's good. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's another classic intro from McCrae, and On the Block. I'm joined by two fantastic players of the game Big Brother. I think you guys came in, fourth and third together? So, like, you guys are essentially the you're essentially the McCrae and Spencer of season 17. I mean, that's sorry to rub salt in the wounds, whatever. But I'm Jmac and Vanessa. Welcome to the show again. Thank you guys for being on.
Thanks, McCrae.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Equal magnitude of mess ups to you guys. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, this has been ridiculous already. You guys have lived with some of these players. Vanessa, you have literally lived with this person probably a good portion of your life, in Tiffany. What are you guys thinking about? Johnny Mac, I want to hear your take first. Like, what are you thinking about the season as a whole? Just how is it playing out, and how is it weird at all watching people play in a house that you just played in?
Yeah, it's not weird. I mean, I didn't go back and watch all of our seasons, so it just kind of feels like 16 ended and 18 began, and there was a time where I played it. But I don't know, it just seems like watching the next season, so that's cool. The house looks different enough that it looks a lot more comfortable than ours was. There was like plastic floors in the HOH room, so I'm just like, their house is way better. It's not even anything like ours, so I'm totally cool with it. I like watching theirs.
And what do you think about the newbies? I mean, we've all kind of seen the veterans and stuff like that. But what are you thinking of, like, the newbies? How are they playing? What do you got? What's your takeaway, just as a whole?
There's a couple just, messing up completely, and they're getting evicted quickly. And then there's some surprises. Like, I didn't think Paul would be adapting this well, and he knew nothing coming in there, and stock is rising on Paul for sure. I think everyone's noticing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Paul is definitely a surprise. I'm super biased when it comes to Paul. For whatever reason, I love this dude so much. I think he's a great character to come out of Big Brother. I'm excited to see where he goes. But Vanessa, I mean, you obviously probably have the most to say about this cast because you literally are related to Tiffany. I mean, tell us what your feelings are about this season as a whole, and just lay it on me.
It's an interesting season as a viewer for sure, because I guess the biggest thing that pops out right away is the skill divide. You have the returnees and the siblings, which are capable and have been really playing on a pretty high level, and then you have the newbies who, for the most part, except for maybe Michelle, know almost next to nothing about the game. It seems like that they've watched maybe one season, and for most of them it wasn't last season. So maybe it's been a while since they've watched, and that's showing as well. It's making it pretty apparent who knows what they're doing in that house, and it also makes it pretty easy for someone who's very strategic and manipulative and a good player, basically, to rise to power. And that's what we've sort of seen with Frank. I think Frank, to this point, is really controlling a lot of the dynamics in the house. However, I think that obviously, like as we just saw on the show, and some of the highlights they just put on the last episode, and also if you've been watching the feeds, it's definitely apparent. He's made a target out of himself in being behind so many of the shots. And so, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Let's get to Frank. I mean, but before that, I kind of am curious. What did you tell your sister before she went in? I know you probably had limited connection when it came to, all right, like she's going to get taken, or like how much, I don't know. But like, did you give her, what was the game plan you gave her? What was like, did you lay out anything?
We had like no time. Basically, I think it was a very last second decision to put Tiffany into the cast. She went on Audrey's game, Sequester.
Yeah.
She won that. And then I actually suggested, she's always wanted to be on Big Brother. She's a huge fan. And she she was like, do you think I could ever like get on Big Brother? And I was like, you should just apply. Obviously they probably already cast her for this year, but apply for next year. So she sent an email to them. She had just gone through the Amazing Race application process and made it to the finals and then didn't get cast. So she had a contact. Okay. And so she emailed her contact, and then because the Amazing Race thing went sour so quickly, she was like so scared to like get us all excited again and let us down. She didn't tell us that she didn't tell me or my mom that she had applied. She did this. She went to LA. I knew nothing of this. She didn't tell me until she knew for sure she was on, which was I had less than 2 days to talk to her before they kidnapped her. And
wow.
Mind you, I'm playing poker at the World Series during that time, so I didn't have that much free time. What I told her during that period of time that I had to talk to her was, obviously, the Big Brother house, I say this all the time and I really mean it, is a great mirror to hold against yourself, to examine yourself and learn how you can self-improve. I think Tiffany is a smart girl. I think she's strategic, and I think that we get that from our dad. I think we're also extremely similar, and I told her what I learned about myself. My emotions were my biggest obstacle in that game. I know a lot of people have this misunderstanding that somehow my emotions were part of my tactic, but they actually weren't. It's my tactic, and I survived despite my emotions, which were constantly in my way and getting me noticed in situations where I didn't need to be noticed. So I advised her to try to control those emotions. I'm sure she's trying, but there's only so much you can do when you're a really sensitive person, and we are sensitive, and we're not perfect, and so yeah, so that's beyond that. I gave her some advice about making an umbrella of alliances like I did last summer. You can see her trying to do that. I also told her don't play hard in the first few weeks. I said the first 3-4 weeks, sit back, let everyone else play, make targets of themselves, figure out how the house is organized, then use logic to appeal to others about why someone else is always a bigger target than yourself.
Well,
and
talking
so
about, like the house, just the pressures and playing too fast. I've noticed a lot of stuff on the internet kind of about how everyone's like, why is Day playing so fast and stuff like that. And the first thing I want to say is, did you guys not watch her last year? Like, it seemed like her and Audrey were just like game crazy, like in those first couple weeks. Like, this seems like this is kind of Day's personality. I mean, Jmac, again, you've played with her. Do you have anything to say about how Day is playing? Because she's entertaining as all get out, and she's very strategic. I'm just worried that she is playing too hard, too fast. She might get caught up in it all. What do you think?
Day is playing on like turtle speed for Day right now. It's still really fast though. Yeah. So just seeing her go around the house and like throwing everyone under the bus to each other, like it's not looking good for. Out of the vets, I say her and Frank are probably doing the worst right now because Day, no one's figured her out yet, but that's a ticking time bomb till that blows up in her face. And then Frank, he was doing a really good job, but the second part of it is also not getting caught, and he got caught doing a good job, so everyone
he's been caught multiple times at this point where it just seems like he's he told the girls, I can't remember what he told them, and then Tiffany was really pissed off about it, and that's when they got into that second little tiff. And then I don't know, it's just like I don't understand. Like, I've met Frank, I've lived with him for a couple days, just like in his place, like I've hung out with him. I mean, the dude is so smart, but the problem is, like, is his ego getting the best of him? Is his Boogie's mentorship, like, is that infecting his brain?
I think it's a lot. It's that he doesn't know when to step back and let others make a decision or two. It's like he has, and I said this yesterday and I really mean it, it's that he has this need to like micromanage every aspect of what's going down in the house, right down to what meals they're eating on what night. And that's a problem. Like, when you're not letting people pick when they can eat what, like you're yelling at someone because they're eating chicken and that's supposed to be tomorrow's meal according to your meal plan. And not only that, but you're like ordering people around. Like the thing he did to Michelle where he was like, go do my laundry. And she's like, what do I get out of it? And he's like, oh, I'll keep you safe. And she's like, all right.
Yeah, that's like, only a funny joke for so long.
Yeah.
Right. And he has no. If he just had not done that strategically, he's really persuasive. He was doing a great job, and I pointed that out. Like after the first few episodes, when I did a You Now, I was talking about Frank's flying under the radar right now, and he's doing great. But then he just couldn't sit back.
Yeah.
But I wanted to address your thing about Day, and how she's doing. The tragic thing about Day is that she's not only her worst, her only enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to come back, she is incapable of trusting anyone. The irony of it is that the majority of her paranoia seems to stem around Tiffany, and obviously that has something to do with me. And the irony is that Tiffany's the most loyal person to her. Every bit of if she had just like opened her eyes, she would realize every time Tiffany gets any information, she runs back to Day. Tiffany's used to having a big sister, you know that, and she's really, you can tell, looking at Day like a big sister figure. Whenever she's upset, she goes to Day. Whenever she gets information, she bounces it off Day. She studies for comps with Day. She really is treating Day like a big sister, and I'm surprised Day hasn't caught on to that. Instead of being threatened, she should have seen that Tiffany is actually being remarkably loyal to her.
And Day is someone that she's watched, like, the whole time she was watching you, she was watching Day also, you know, like, there has to be a bond of, like, okay, well, this is, like, you know, someone that my family played with, so it should be, like, I don't know, like, it seems like there has to be, like, some sort of tight kind of alliance just because of, like, alumni status. I mean, even with, Paulie and Nicole, like, Paulie has to look at Nicole and be like, I watched you this whole time, I've known you, I've met you before, you know, like, it seems like there should be just an automatic partnership that goes with that. But you touched on, yeah, Davon is just, she's her own worst enemy, and it seems like that's kind of happening again this season, because that's what I kind of thought last season as well.
But to Day's credit, in the last couple of days, she's really turned that around a bit.
Mm-hmm.
She's calmed down. Actually, to Tiffany's credit, she's the one who seems to be calming Day down. A bunch of times in the last 24 hours, they're talking one-on-one, and Tiffany will be like, chill, listen, my sister, she actually said, my sister told me not to play hard in the first 4 weeks. And Day's like, you're right. And she's calming down. We're seeing it. Now that the HOH went not Day's way, I guess it'll be the true test if she's able to keep her composure like she had over the last 24 hours.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
What's the future for this week? What is the future? I mean, Frank is safe. You know, Tiffany's not safe, but I doubt that Bridget's going to make a move on Tiffany. I've even read some stuff that kind of sounded like Frank might try to push that, but I just don't see it happening. This is kind of a win-win for Frank and Tiffany, I feel like. I mean, it seems like they're both kind of in the safe zone this week. I don't know. What do you guys think? No?
Win.
It's tough. I mean, Bridget can't put up. I imagine that Bridget wants to take Michelle out, right? That's her only real enemy for her game, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, but she can't.
Yeah.
Because Michelle's on the same team, right? So, I don't know. I think she's gonna be really open to hearing what Frank has to say. It looked like, did Day and some of the other girls like start getting in her ear about Frank?
I mean, I think that's what it has felt like. I mean, this, like, last week, it seems like they've all kind of been, the girls have been kind of, like, slowly orbiting around, getting closer and closer. It just seems like everyone's Frank's, his name has been dragged through the mud, drugged through the mud, you know, just to everyone. It just seems like Frank is in a really bad position. I mean,
But it won't be evicted this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what do you do?
But-
What is your play?
Here's the thing, like, so with Bridget, coming into the game, I definitely, for the first week or so, was like pretty disappointed. I was thinking she was going to be a little more strategic, and I started to, you know, I guess Bridget's stock was dropping. Then early last week, she has these like private secret talks with Tiffany and Natalie, and they seem to be going really well. Like I was like, wow, Bridget's actually going to like let Frank think that he controls her, and she's really not about it. And then end of last week, and this was just the moment where her stock just plummeted in my book. She goes and spills all the beans to Frank. I don't know why. Like, how that benefited her, I do not know, because Frank wasn't going to target her anyway. She's on Frank's team. Like, why? I guess, like, I mean, it's great that you know Frank wants to take you far, but you also know Frank's making a huge target out of himself. Like, why did you need to do that?
Maybe it's armchair psychology over here.
Yeah, I was disappointed in that, and I think that's a pretty bad omen for Tiffany. I think that she's falling victim to Frank's smooth talk, and I think that Frank's going to really push Tiffany, and I think other people might agree just to try to save their own butt. They know that Tiffany's kind of like that next target behind Frank. It would have been fine if Frank wasn't safe this week, he would have been targeted, but now that he's safe, Tiffany's such an easy automatic one to go to. I'm just praying that someone like Natalie, who's so gung-ho about a girl winning, gets in Bridget's ear, and she listens to that more than she does Frank. But I think the odds of that are low.
Yeah. Do you think Paul as a pawn will happen again? I think that's a good chance of happening.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I mean, even like, it's one of those things where like the person that, like, a lot of times in Big Brother, it's probably not a trend or anything, but it's like the person that wins usually ends up putting up the person that got second place, like, just out of weirdness. I don't know. For whatever reason, I thought that about Paul. Like, Paul seems like he's a good one to go up because he's a boy. It helps out with the numbers of the girls. Like, they can still keep on pushing that kind of, like, girls versus boys agenda. Plus, Paul's still an outsider. No blood on your hands, because who really gives a shit about Paul? Like, I mean, it just seems like Paul's an easy out for Bridget as well. I don't know. That's what I'm throwing out there.
I'm praying that Tiffany goes to Bridget and tells her that Frank's the one who won the roadkill the first week.
Yeah.
If she does that, she might be able to get Bridget in her back pocket, turn her around, and make her put up like maybe a James and a Paul, with Paul being the target. That's what I'm hoping for. I think.
Do you really think she's in that much danger? Is this like? Do you think? Well, because, like, how much danger have you perceived her to be in from the start of the game? Because is this, like, your, like, sisterly instinct of, like, oh, my God, I got to protect my... Because I've never watched my family member play the game. So, I mean, like, you have to imagine that there is a bit of that where it's like, oh, shit, like, she's on the ropes every week. Because, like, to me, I mean, it definitely could go that way, but to me, I just don't think, like... I think it's kind of a win-win. I don't know. What... I don't know. There's not a question in there, but...
I wasn't scared for her this week at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I for a minute there, it was looking a little tentative, but I really never felt like she was going to go home this week.
Mm-hmm.
However, with Vic out of the house, there's really no huge house target anymore, other than Tiffany maybe. So I'm, and Frank's team has power, and Frank is very able to influence someone like Bridget, as we've seen. So yeah, I'm definitely worried. I don't think that's just sisterly nervousness. I think that logically, we're gonna. I'm hoping Tiffany goes up there and makes a hell of an argument. But so I'm actually. Well,
is it also is it also one of those things where it's like that she's probably the most dangerous player in the game, so it's like, well, why wouldn't they go after her? I mean, I don't know.
I don't necessarily think she's the most dangerous player in the game right now. She shouldn't be perceived that way, at least.
Yeah.
Like, she hasn't been winning competitions. She's really been sitting back and not gaming too hard compared to some of the other people in there. I think she's done the best within her control to minimize the target over her head that she came in with, being my sister. However, they definitely see a lot of me in her, and so that they might just want to get rid of her, and it might just be like a coup against me. That also.
This is bad blood.
I mean, although I had nothing to do with Day going home. That was really. James, on the other hand, would be totally justified to do that.
Yeah, let's kind of talk about James.
James's play so far this year. I just want to say one thing. I remember sitting in the backyard with James and him saying, "I do not throw comps," and what is he doing all season long now? So he's learned a bit. That's good.
I'm disappointed that James, although I think James is playing great and probably the best out of all the vets right now, I'm a little disappointed that he let his strongest team member in Victor be targeted so easily when he could have had the house turn on Bronte. Why didn't they do that? Like, that would have been much smarter, in my opinion, and it would also send home a girl, so there wouldn't be as big of a target on a female the next week, and they could have more safely gone for someone like Frank. James wants Frank gone, but he's got to do the math and realize with Victor gone, the girl-guy ratio is something you just can't ignore. Is it smart to target a guy like Frank? Obviously, you can't move now. But
the problem,
I would have been happier to try to flip it last week.
Victor was in direct competition with James for the affections of Natalie. Like, that's what it comes down to, 100%. Like, I've watched him, and it sickens me. I just can't watch him, like, try to, like, make that, and, like, it's probably smart, like, and he is playing the best out of the veterans right now, and I don't know why, but it just bothers me so much. It's like, oh, this is your game again, dude. Like, ugh, come on. But I mean, I don't know. I just get jealous, I think. Natalie's a beautiful lady. But also, like, it's so frustrating to watch, like, him jump out of garbage cans every fucking episode. Like, every episode, come on. Like, I want to see some game being played. Like, I want to, like, I don't know. Don't get me started, but.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, and like, it is a good game to like shack up with Natalie. Like, she seems like she's semi-bright. Like, she kind of is feeling the game out. She's kind of learning. She's kind of figuring it all out. I like, it's a good idea for him because he has some sort of control over the newbie side a little bit in that regard, and she's really taking a shine to him. So it seems like he might have a good parachute, as they say, with her. I don't know, but I think that's definitely, it's probably gonna be the downfall of his game. I don't know. What do you guys say?
It's tough 'cause last year, so him and Meg were a pair, and I think the best thing they had going was Meg didn't have no one perceived that Meg was going to win anything.
Mm-hmm.
So as a pair, as opposed to any other group in the house, they're always going to be the ones that people are going to want to align with because they want them at the end there. Whereas this year, I don't know if people are like perceiving Natalie as being a threat because she's a physical girl.
Yeah.
Maybe she could pull something out. It might not be as good of a pair as he had with Meg last year because they might be a bigger target.
I can see that.
Of
Absolutely.
the perceptions of them as a pair, So
Absolutely.
I think he'll finish about where he did last year.
I can see that absolutely. What placed 7th? Is that
Somewhere
what it was?
around- yeah, middle
I think
of
it
the
was. I
pack,
think
he'll be right.
everyone's 7th except for Davon. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess the only other thing I could really think of, is like Tiffany and Pauly. Is there an alliance there? What is the true nature of their relationship?
There could have been and should have been a tight alliance between the two of them. I'm shocked that they haven't bonded more closely. It seems like they did, but there's something holding each of them back. You see Tiffany talking, she'll like talk strategy. She's sort of just in a room by herself talking to me, I guess, and she'll speak out loud and say how she wants to trust Pauly, but there's something there she doesn't fully trust. She trusts Devon more, which that's a bad read on her part. But for whatever reason, something's holding her back there. And then with Pauly, he's saying what's turning him off about Tiffany is he perceives, and I think inaccurately, that my game was about trying to get sympathy. Like, I get why he would think that. I'm shocked that if you really watched the whole season, that by the end you have to see that logic was what I was using. Emotions were actually like my biggest downfall, the thing that I had to overcome. It definitely never helped my game. I wish I could control my emotions better, but so when he sees Tiffany crying, he thinks that's strategy. It's not. It's actually her literally being not able to control the emotional side, and it has nothing to do with strategy. So that's what's holding him back, and I see them going against each other, and I wish they weren't.
Johnny Mac, how do you perceive Pauly playing this game? You watched 16. What's like? Is he playing a good game? Where is he at? Like, does he have something to prove for, like, Cody? And also, that goes to you. Does Tiffany have something to prove? Does she Is she have to win this? Johnny Mac. All right, what do you think about Pauly?
Pauly, I got to meet Pauly when the casting calls were going on, because he's local to the area, and he seems just as smooth as Cody. I don't think Cody gets enough credit for how good he is at working with the females, and Pauly's got the same skill set there. So I think, what we saw from Cody, he's doing similar things. He's just really. He's good socially. No one's they don't wake up and they're like, "Oh my God, I hate Pauly. He's such a dick."
Absolutely.
That doesn't happen. So I think he's very likable, and I think he's pretty good.
I feel like he has a bloodthirsty tinge about him. Like, there's something about him that is whereas Cody was just so wholesome. Like, Pauly just seems like, I don't know. There's something devious about him where there's
more of a killer instinct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if it's always was there, or after seeing his brother not win, like now I got to take home the glory. Do you think there's
added pressure?
Exactly. Do you think there is any added pressure to Tiffany, just to win this game, to bring it home for the family honor?
Me?
Yeah.
Obviously, look, I hope not. I hope she realizes, look, she's her own person. I'm a professional game player. Like, she should not feel any pressure. She's a teacher. We have two very different skill sets. Yes, we have the same parents, and yes, we have the same voice. And yes, we look like that. But when it comes right down to it, she's not a professional gamer, and I am. And that's a big difference when you're talking about going into Big Brother. So I hope she doesn't feel that pressure. I'm proud of her just for giving it a shot, and I know she's in there playing her heart out. So I'm proud no matter what.
Are you going to be really pissed off if she does better than you?
What?
Are you going to be really pissed off if she does better than you?
Actually, I hope she does better than me. Listen, being my little sister by 13, 14 months, we've been close the whole time. And I've had a lot of success with poker, and Tiffany can have Big Brother. If she wins, I am all poker. Be Big Brother chick, I am poker chick. I'm fine with that. Like, I hope she wins. I hope she does great. I'm a very supportive big sister, and Tiffany, I would love to see something go her way.
Excellent. All right. Well, I mean, I think we've covered it. You guys have anything else you want to touch on?
Tiffany and Frank, you gotta bury the hatchet so you guys aren't big targets.
They need to pull a Johnny Mac and Vanessa. They
Yeah.
I love that.
We're the werewolves, I think, right?
Yeah. But we didn't name it until the very end when we were ready to cut each other.
I know.
That's amazing.
We held it. That got us. We were both at the bottom of everyone's list, and it got us to the final 4. We took out what, 5 more people there. Something.
Yep.
I don't know.
And what an unholy alliance they would make, like 2 power players. I mean, it'd be great to watch. I love it.
Yeah, I'm actually really. You never know. You never know. It could happen for sure. We haven't seen what Tiffany does with her back against the wall. I think she's gonna feel the pressure right now, and so I'm really excited to I'm about to go check the feeds. Right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm excited to do that as well, and I think everyone else that is watching is done with our shenanigans. Johnny Mac, what do you got to plug? What's your handles?
Plug? I mean, just follow me on the Twitter at RockstarDMD.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, Vanessa, what do you got to plug?
I mean, I guess Twitter, Vanessa Russo, Instagram, Vanessa Russo, and then follow my sister, guys. She's Tiffany Alexis04 on Twitter. You'll see the link in my bio on my Twitter. So follow her. I've been running her Twitter and Instagram, and she'll be running it when she gets back, hopefully in a long, long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for being on the show. I appreciate it. I hope it wasn't too much of a pulling Band-Aids off your skin and all that goodness. I hope it wasn't sucky. Speaking of skin, look at I'm sorry all the viewers had to see my weird, gross blotchiness from sunburns and disgusting. All right. All right. That's a good way to end the show. Thanks everyone for watching, and you guys can always subscribe and do all that stuff. You guys know the drills. Whatever. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time on the block. Bye-bye.
Bye.